Welcome to another episode of Webinar Wednesday. My name is Brandon Lilly, and today I'm joined by Angela Marsh. Angela, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing excellent.
Great.
We're going to be talking about real estate marketing today, and that's why I wanted to have Angela here. Angela is an absolute expert when it comes to marketing techniques and marketing strategies for realtors and the real estate industry. So if you guys would like to follow along with this slide, you'll want to join us at m360.us/197b. Again, that's m360.us/197b. So, Angela, anything you want to say before we jump in and get started?
I don't think so. I'm just excited to share all this information with you guys.
Excellent. All right, let's go ahead and dive in. We're going to move on to our next slide here. First things first, we want to kind of just talk about our most important focuses, the things that we really want to dive into and talk about. So first off, obviously, in today's world, you need to have an online presence. It's just absolutely vital to a realtor, a real estate professional's marketing strategy. If you don't have a strong or a good, solid online presence, that's really going to start causing problems for you down the road. So we want to make sure that we're starting there with that foundation. We've done some other webinars on how to build different websites and how to optimize websites that you may have so that you can get better landing pages and higher optimization. You can find links to that or go to youtube.com/marketing360 and check out the Webinar Wednesday playlist. Next, we also want to talk about the different areas that agents can specialize in. Maybe you're just getting started in real estate and you want to find a way to kind of set yourself apart. So we'll talk about that. We'll break down some different areas that you can focus on for the website and for the marketing. Pro tip here, we also want to make sure that you're utilizing every single channel that you have available for marketing, because skipping out on that can cost you a lead. And finally, another pro tip here, following up is the key to closing leads. Anybody who's been doing this for a while understands that, if you're not following up, someone else is talking to them, and that's a great way to lose a lead. Angela, anything to add?
Nope. I think you went over everything. That's very high level. So I'm ready to dive into all the details with you.
Excellent. So let's move on to our next slide here. This is kind of going to be our starting point. Angela, I want you to walk me through this initial offer, how a client gets to know the realtor, how the realtor kind of reaches out, or the real estate agent kind of reaches out to generate new clients. Walk me through this. What is an initial offer, and how do we use that to get in front of new potential customers?
Yeah, absolutely. So there are so many real estate agents out there, and it is really important that you are going to differentiate yourself from others. So there's a lot of different things that you can do. One of those things that is something that every real estate agent is able to do for any one of their clients or new clients is you can offer a free CMA, so free competitive market analysis. That allows you to give your new client or potential new client more value, because you're going to tell them, hey, this is what you could list your home for. Then you're able to captivate that person, get their information, and you'll have that follow-up, which we will be talking about more in this presentation. You can also do something like free home valuation. Again, that's going to let somebody who's interested in buying a home or selling a home kind of know what is going on in their area. Another thing that I have found to be really successful is when they are on your website. So if somebody is going to be on your website looking at properties, have a forced registration. So what that's going to be is after they view maybe 5 properties, you have something that will pop up that makes them do a forced registration. So they're going to have to put in their email and their name. Then automatically they're going to go into your CRM or your email marketing, so we're able to follow up with them and capture their information.
Now, talk to me a little bit more. I want to go back and talk about the CMA and the home valuation, but talking specifically about that forced registration, have you ever found that there's that you increase bounce rates, or you have consumers that are like, oh, well, I'll just go to Zillow or I'll go to realtor.com and search that way and not have to sign up?
Yeah, so that's the hard part with forced registration is we do see that there is an increased bounce rate because people just want to kind of window shop when they are looking at properties. So you have to pick and choose what is more valuable to you. Is it more valuable for you to have people stay on your site longer or capture their email? They can go to Zillow. However, the most valuable information is going to be on your website. So having really high quality photos and great listing descriptions with all of those will help to keep them on that website. So the forced registration doesn't really deter them away.
I think you bring up a good point there. Obviously, if you're going to force a registration or you're going to ask somebody, you're going to ask a customer for their information that you want something from them, you've got to give them something back. There needs to be value there. So if your content on the website just isn't valuable, then yeah, you're absolutely going to see a big increase in bounce rates and people running off to other sites, and you're going to lose that as a potential lead. Mm-hmm. So what are some things that maybe you've seen, and maybe this is a good way to segment in or to segue into the conversation about the home valuation or the CMA. Have you found that those are good kind of lead generation points to capture that data, but then provide them something valuable?
Yeah, absolutely. So if we're going to be asking for something, just as you had mentioned earlier, Brandon, it's good to give them something in return. So I want your email, and what I'm going to deliver to you is a free home valuation, a free competitive market analysis, or a free market report, depending on what's going to be the easiest for you to come up with and what you're working with. So if you're working for sellers or buyers, then you're going to want to have a different category that you're focused on. But it is very beneficial, and I found it to work very well if you have something that you're going to deliver to the actual person on your website. If they just get their email in there and then you don't give them anything, then that's where people are concerned. Okay, well, I just gave an email and I don't know what's going to happen to it. Maybe it'll be spammed. I have no idea. So that just increases people's trust with you and your brand.
Let's run down a rabbit trail here a little bit. Let's talk a little bit more from both a realtor's perspective. For a lot of people, they're maybe not working out of an office. They may just be working out of their own home and kind of bootstrapping this themselves. So you don't always have a lot of tools that can create these market valuations and market reports and things like that. And then from a consumer side, I want to know what's the value in this for me as a consumer. What should I expect in a market report or a home valuation or something like that? So maybe if you can, I'd love for you to dive into that a little bit more. What should a realtor expect to need to put into these? What's the market looking for? And then what should a consumer expect to receive?
Yeah. So as a real estate agent, you do have a lot of resources that are readily available to you with your local MLS. So every agent does have to be part of a board of realtors. When they're part of that board of realtors, they will have the MLS, and within that, they have access to all of the listings. So I like to say a lot in my ads that you can search like a realtor, which you're able to do when you are on these agents' websites. So from their back end, where they're looking at all their listings, they are able to see kind of what's going on in the market. From there, that's where they're able to create these competitive market analysis. So it's a tool that they have within a program that they're already paying for every single year. That's part of their dues. So that's something that they just have as an expert in their industry or even just in that industry. So it's really easy for them to create. They just need to look at their local MLS, contact their board of realtors and say, hey, I would like to start creating a free CMA report. Where am I able to get that report? Once they have that, it's typically a PDF. It's very small. You can utilize that and put that into an email, design it, and then you can send that out to anybody that's filling that information out on your website.
Do you recommend kind of branding that specifically towards the realtor, contact information, name, website, all that?
Mm-hmm, yeah, absolutely. Because you're just going to have a standard PDF. If you don't do that, this is going to help build brand awareness. So it's really important for people to have that brand recognition with your logo, your name, and the ability to contact you easily.
And what should a consumer expect to receive from a home valuation or a CMA? What kind of information is in there that's useful for them? Because for realtors who are going to be crafting or kind of building their sites around this, they're going to need to know what kind of content, what's a consumer going to look for, and what kind of calls to actions can we use that's going to help to encourage someone to make this decision.
Yeah, absolutely. So as a consumer, what you're going to be looking for is getting a competitive market analysis that's going to show you the home values around your area that are similar to your home as well. So a lot of the times, this is going to be kind of the older type of marketing, but when you found out that your neighbors sold their home, you're really curious, oh my gosh, how much did they sell their home for? They have the same size home as me. Maybe I could sell my home for the same price. I can't believe that John and Susie sold it for $150,000 more than they bought it for. So it's kind of that nosy neighbor getting the report. So they're able to see all the home values that are similar to their homes, so they know what they could list their home for. So really valuable to get that potential listing for the real estate agent. In addition to that, for real estate, your call to actions are going to be very simple. When anytime you want to schedule an appointment for them to actually look at a listing, you always want to say schedule listing appointment. You never want to say like schedule a time to see me or make it really long. You can say schedule showing, but other than that, you don't want to put any other filler words in there. The other thing that you would want to put on this CMA report is contact me. Very simple, but we don't want them to go any other direction from getting this report, because this is a funnel where we are trying to get that person to contact the agent. We don't want them to go back and look at more listings. So we want to make our main call to action contact me, so they can get in with that agent to figure out more what it would be like to list their home.
And that sounds like that's also a fantastic nurturing tool. Maybe they weren't planning on selling the house, but like you said, the neighbors across the road or down the street, they sold it. What did they sell it for? Maybe there's an opportunity, and you send them this information. Now you can start to nurture them through different kinds of campaigns, so that when they are ready to sell, they work with you and they don't, work with someone else or a different realtor or anything like that.
Yeah. And that's
Excellent.
where we can put email marketing into play as well.
I love it. And I think we're going to talk about that in the next couple of slides, but let's move down here. I know you've got a screenshot of a website here. Request more information. You've got the listing ID, some property details. Walk me through this page. What are we looking to accomplish, and how is this working?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a real estate client that I have here. And what I'm showing on this page is that we have some call to action buttons that are visually appealing. Your eye is directed to certain areas that I want to make sure are emphasized for this listing. So naturally, most listings are going to have all of the images showed for that property, and then below you'll be able to scroll and look at them. They might be on the left or right hand side. And then most default real estate websites will have the form down below this property. So that means it's below the fold. So it's not going to catch somebody's eye right when they get to this page. What is going to help you convert is to have that request more information on that listing on the right-hand side. So what I'm showing here is how we move this form up, and we have a red button over to the right-hand side so we can get that information right away. This allows you to get to that agent much quicker than going all the way down to the bottom and finding a contact form. So this is how I found real estate websites to convert at a much higher rate.
And keep in mind, obviously, the websites don't need to be overly designed. Now, different niche industries and different specialties will need different things from a design perspective. But what we're talking about here is the fact that there are some real specific tools or techniques that you want to use on your landing pages and on your sites. And I think you hit on one of the most important ones there, Angela, is having that form really easy to see. We're not asking for a whole lot of information, so we're reducing the friction and increasing the opportunity to generate these leads, and then also identifying it. What's going to happen? Well, you're going to send a message to request more information, and that button right there, that call to action button, is red, so it catches the eye and it draws people in.
Yeah. So it is really important. You want to make sure that it's a different color than what you have commonly themed on your website. So if you look towards the top of the website by the navigation, you can see that we kind of have a navy color, and then my buttons are more of this maroon color. So we do have a secondary color we're using on the website. It doesn't stand out quite as much when you're looking at the website just from the home page. But when you go into these property details, we do have these nice maroon colors, so they stand out a little bit more.
Fantastic. And let's move on to the next slide. Let's say you've got a customer or a potential customer. They come in, they requested more information, or they fell onto your landing page and they want a market evaluation or a home valuation, something like that. Now we want to talk about this follow-up, right? And follow-up is key. And Angela, I think that you'll really have a lot of details and a lot of information to dive into here. But in my perspective and in my experience in marketing, follow-up is where a lot of small businesses, and I think in this industry specifically for realtors, because it's so noisy, it's such a noisy industry, this is a real opportunity to lose out on those customers. And especially if you're paying for ads, if you're on Facebook, if you're on Google, you're running video ads or anything like that, there's a cost to driving people to your website. And if you lose them, if they're just falling out the back of the funnel and they're not actually converting because you aren't following up, that just increases your overall costs. So walk me through this. I'd love to hear your perspective on how you can stay top of mind and how you can kind of really serve your clients by providing them the information that they need.
Yeah, absolutely. So just like you said, follow-up is key. It's really easy in the real estate industry to get a lead and then you never talk to them again. Everybody's going to know a lot of different real estate agents. So you want to make sure that you are having that retention. You are making them remember your brand. So after they filled out that information to receive that free CMA, it's really valuable for you to put them into a drip campaign. One thing that I found successful is to send out weekly emails. I do have featured properties in there. There's going to be properties in there that maybe that client isn't always going to be searching for, and these are going to be things that they just came to the market, so it can be a hot list of properties. A lot of agents will have different terminology that they use, but they want to put those brand new properties at the very beginning of these emails. So that's the first thing that they're bringing attention to. This is really valuable for all of those listing agents that have new listings because they can tell their clients, I'm going to be featuring your property on this newsletter that I send out every week, and it's going to go to X amount of people. So that's kind of a win-win for you as a real estate agent. The other thing that is really valuable is showing all of your properties as well. So a lot of different agents, depending on your area, you're going to have different types of collections. So a lot of the times you're going to think of that when you're shopping online, collections, but with real estate, it's similar as well. We're going to have luxury homes, so that can be a luxury collection. We will also have, and this is again, depending on your area, condos, townhomes. Say you have riverfront property, beachfront property. So you could do a collection that is kind of more of your high seller and feature that in the secondary spot on this newsletter. I have found these areas to be very successful because they're all targeting a little bit more of a specific area for people to search within. And then I do want to bring them over to the website so they can do the property search themselves. So come over to the website, look at other things that I haven't already laid out for you just to see how we have this wide assortment of everything. The other thing, definitely want to let them get to know who you are. There are so many real estate agents out there that you have to personalize yourself. You have to show people, this is who I am, this is what I like to do. Having a blog, featured broker of the month, driving them to social media and doing featured broker of the week. It depends on where you want to build that branding, but that's how you're able to build up all that brand awareness for your real estate office, you as a real estate agent, and that allows you to build that trust.
I like one thing you've got in here, kind of the note of that an 18% open rate, if I'm reading this correctly, is about average for email opens. And that seems fairly consistent. You know, usually that 10 to 18% seems to be pretty consistent. So what you're saying is that you see that the real estate emails, especially if you've got a nice, highly targeted list of people that have requested information, you're seeing an open rate of 27%.
Yeah. I've just noticed that the people that we do have subscribe into our email list or receive that free CMA, they really do want information. They're curious about the market and what type of listings are out there. So I have seen that open rate is significantly higher at 27% on average.
Excellent. And this brings up a good point of that you can't just build an email list to build one. And I'll segue here a little bit. You can't go out and buy an email list either. And Angela, you probably had this conversation a couple of times too. You can purchase an email list all day. You just can't use it. So don't fall into that trap. Don't waste your money on buying email lists or anything like that. It's not valuable to you. It's spammy, and you're never going to get anywhere close to this 27% open rate. When you have a high open rate, what that means is that your email list is full of people that are actually interested and motivated to become buyers. The great thing about digital marketing is that you don't have to use a shotgun approach. You don't have to spray and pray and hope that just by sheer volume, you're able to actually get your sales. This is a fantastic way to actually really hone in and laser focus on individuals and people and areas that these folks are motivated. You know, they actually want to become customers. They want to sell their house. They want to buy a house, you know, whether you're listing or selling. You know, by focusing on building a quality list, and this is a great foundation to start with, you're able to really kind of help yourself refine your marketing in the future or refine your efforts so that you're focusing on things that make you money versus focusing on just things that create some noise.
Yep.
Perfect. Let's move on a little bit. We talked a little bit about the email stuff here. Now I want to talk a little bit more about how do you get people to your site? How do you get them to trust you? How do you build that relationship with a consumer? You've got a slide here talking about how a strong social media presence is necessary. So talk to me about this. What does this look like? And what do you mean when you say social media? Talk to me about the channels as well.
Yeah, so social media has been very successful in the real estate industry for the clients I am marketing for. This is kind of letting people get to know you as an agent. It is really important for you to be on Facebook and Instagram. Those are going to be the most successful platforms for you as a real estate agent if you're going to be focusing on two. With these posts, you're absolutely able to post about your listings, and I do recommend that, but only 10% of the time would I recommend you're posting about listings. That's something that people are able to get when they go to your website. We want to get them to the website to look for that. They're able to see that through emails. There's a lot of different avenues for them to look at that. Social media is a place for us to build your brand, to let them know who you are. So it's really important for you to put reviews on there. So you can do a post where it has a picture and then a review, just showing somebody's experience with you, because agents that are performing really well, you're going to have a lot of reviews that are talking about people's experience with you. Home buying or selling is a very personal process. So we want people to trust you, and we can build that trust through social media. Another thing that's really successful through social media is kind of selling the lifestyle. A lot of these areas that we're selling homes, people are not just buying something for the construction. They're buying it because it's a home, and there's a lot more value to an actual home. So we want to talk about, what is the lifestyle that makes me want to live here? Why is this home? Is it because I'm going to raise my kids here? Am I going to retire here? So really emulating that brand within our social media allows us to have that strong presence that we're seeking to let people know who you are. So then they are more comfortable when working with you. And that first meeting you have with them, you walk in the door and they already feel like they know you.
I think that's a great suggestion too. I work with a realtor here. I think everybody has a realtor that they go to or that they're friends with. But being that wealth of knowledge, when I was first moving to Colorado and I got in contact with a realtor because I was moving in from out of state, all I knew is that I'd been here once before. I'd seen the mountains. I thought they were gorgeous. Well, now I want to come back. She was a wealth of knowledge in being able to provide me with information on the neighborhoods and what to expect in those neighborhoods and what kind of lifestyle I could find in different cities. We talked about what the nightlife is like, or what, this is more family friendly versus this is a younger demographic, things like that to kind of help steer me in a direction of where I wanted to go. And I think that you bring up an excellent point here. You don't always want to sell on your social media. Social media is all about piercing the corporate veil, kind of tearing that back and really showcasing the inside of the company, the human face behind the organization, behind the brand. And if you do that well, not only are you going to generate more leads and get more clients, but you're also really going to be able to help to educate them. And studies show that when a consumer is more educated, they generally are going to go back to whoever educated them in the first place. Mm-hmm. So I love that. You're not just selling and showing your listings, but you're also showing the lifestyle and the neighborhoods and the community. And I think this really fits in really well with those realtors that have found kind of a niche market to live in, right? If you're luxury or maybe mountain towns or condos, first-time home buyers, things like that, they're all going to need different things, right? If I'm buying a mountain property because I'm a big avid skier, which I'm not, I'm probably going to need different information than if I'm a first-time home buyer, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So talk to me about crafting your message on social media a little bit. How do you identify what your viewers or the people that your fans, potential customers, how do you identify what they're looking for? And then how do you use that information to craft the social media message?
Yeah, absolutely. So when talking to any of my real estate agents, it's really important for me to understand what their market has to offer, what makes their market a little bit more unique, and what are the areas that they focus on. So say that you are focusing on a mountain town. That's going to be a little bit different of a buyer than somebody that is going to be in Ohio. So somebody in a mountain town, we're going to have a lot more of your second homeowners. We're going to have people that are looking to invest in real estate. They're going to have a little bit more income. So there's a lot of targeting that we're going to set up for all of the people that are in this demographic because they're looking for that second home. And the way that we're talking to them is really selling that lifestyle. because maybe they live in New York City, they live in LA, they want to get away from that busy lifestyle. So a lot of the times doing ads or doing posts that say 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo with plenty of room for open space. And we have a picture of a golf course because that's what their backyard now is. Something that they're not used to, and it's more appealing to that user because they're looking for that second home and they just want to get away from the busy hustle of life. However, if we're looking at the other side of it, where we're just talking to, say we're looking in Fort Collins, Colorado, and somebody is moving here because they're going to raise their family, they know there's really great schools and it's a fantastic community to really raise a family in, then we're going to be talking to them more about the schools and the family activities that we have here, why you would want to move here for those reasons, and how you can afford a home here. So you're going to be targeting more of the younger family. You're going to be talking to them about, you can do a blog and have this on your social media page, which is going to be valuable for 2 reasons. But what you'll do is you can have a blog, the top 5 schools in Larimer County. That's going to be really valuable to that person that's looking to relocate to Larimer County, which would be Fort Collins, because they're going to see, okay, there's a lot of great schools here. And then when I go onto this real estate website, I'll be able to see this house is located near all of these schools because of these maps. So it's just trying to get to know exactly what your focus on is for your agent.
I love it. And you talked a little bit about the targeting and the marketing. So let's move to our next slide. That was an excellent segue there. We want to make sure that you're operating on all of the different social paid channels. And Angela, you've got a screenshot in here from the Marketing 360 platform. So talk to me about these, are the different channels that you recommend realtors and real estate agents are working on, where they should put their investment, where they should put their energies. Walk me through this.
Yeah, absolutely. So with real estate, it is very important to be on every single channel with marketing. So it's very important for you to be doing, as we had mentioned earlier, a lot of your email marketing. That's going to be indicated by the lower teal chart right there in the graph. So we're driving all those people back to our website. It's direct traffic. So that's going to be really important. That's also going to be a factor with social media. So we're building up that brand awareness. We're building people's trust. We're getting them to go directly to our website. So because we're doing that, people are naturally going to start searching for us as well. They're seeing us on social media. They're getting emails from us. They're going to go into Google and they want to look for your company name. So it's really important that you do have an organic presence. In addition to that, we want to make sure that, hey, while they're looking for you and they go to your website, we want to make sure that we're going to follow them around with some remarketing. So it is really effective for us to have those ads that are going to follow them around, because the average buy cycle is around 3 years. If they're going to do all this window shopping, subscribe to our email list, and they're going to be getting to know us, we want to make sure that they really don't forget us, even though we are emailing them and we're having killer follow-up. We do want to make sure that we still have those ads with all of that remarketing. So another channel that's going to be very effective. When you see all of these colors here lit up, you can see how we are directly getting conversions because we are running things on every single channel. In addition to that, it is really powerful for us to run things on our paid search channel. So it depends on your area. You will need to get to know, as an agent, what is your average age for people that are buying homes. If it's going to be a little bit younger, you're definitely going to want to focus on Google. Bing can be successful. I highly recommend Google, but that's where we can see that blue bar and every single channel running that works together to give you maximum visibility, which will allow more people to click on your listing on every single channel. Then they're going to be able to search. We can put them in that email funnel, remarket to them, and build that brand awareness so they can become a client of yours.
And that trust is incredibly important. Not only do you just need to be visible, because at that point, consumer, you need to follow the marketing law of 7. A consumer needs to see your brand at least 7 times before they really decide that they're going to engage with you. And that's just building trust, and then on top of that, you had mentioned originally reviews. Reviews are incredibly important, whether they're on Facebook, they're on Google My Business, they're on Top Rated Local, anything like that. Reviews are going to be really important as well. Plus on Zillow and Realtor.com and all that. But you have to consider that not every buyer is on every single channel. So you have to understand your market is segmented. So you have to segment your marketing to bring everybody into one cohesive funnel. And you tied it back in there perfectly, talking about getting people to your site, in the retargeting program, into that email funnel, because like you said, it could be a 3-year buying cycle.
Yeah.
And you don't want to spend all this money and have them, all the advertising funds and get them in there and lose them after 3 months.
Absolutely.
They've totally forgotten you. But if you're feeding them information, you're educating them, that's how you can really, really turn a lot of these visitors essentially into actual clients.
Exactly.
All right, let's move on to our next slide here. Angela, sum this up for me. We've talked about different ways to maybe break out and pick a niche market to be in, how to understand the demographics of those markets, how to understand and identify kind of what makes you different. We've talked about follow-up. Recap this for me. If you could narrow this down into just the most important things, what would you say they are?
Yeah, so I'm going to emphasize on this over and over again, but you really need to break out your marketing with your specialties. So know those. If you are somebody that works primarily with luxury homes, then focus on that. Focus on the buyers for that. If you want to work with only sellers, then you need to focus on that area. If there's certain neighborhoods that you want to focus on, that you already know a lot of people, you have great word of mouth, then work with something that makes sense for you. It's going to work really well for you. Don't go for somewhere that you've never been before, something that you don't know very much about, because you're the expert in your area. Just like you were saying, Brandon, your real estate agent knew everything about the nightlife, the kids' life, anything that you were going to come and explore in Colorado, your agent knew. So if you know those for your area, then you capitalize on those. You want to break out your marketing into all of those channels. So with social targeting ads on Facebook, so when you're targeting people through social media, what you're doing on Google. So if people are looking for homes for sale in Fort Collins, we want to make sure that we can get in front of that relevant audience. But again, you want to make sure that you have all of it relevant to something that you are knowledgeable about. So that's something that's really important. Another thing is whenever you're doing your marketing, always know what makes you different. And not that you're just the top producing agent, because that's something that gets used quite frequently. Know exactly what your value is. So if when you go up to somebody and you have something really unique in your listing presentation, for example, you have a virtual tour offered with every single listing, capitalize on that. That's more valuable than saying top producing agent. Because myself as a consumer, a homeowner, and a home buyer, I want to know what makes you different. What are you going to do to sell my home faster? If you're a top producing agent, that's fantastic. But what type of marketing are you going to do for me? How can you get my home listed faster? What are the things that make it more valuable for me as your client? So those are very valuable. And again, we're going to say this. I think you guys have probably heard this maybe 3 or 4 times during this presentation, but it's really important to follow up with your leads via email. If you can do text message marketing as well, that's very powerful, but at least do email, where you're able to put them into a drip campaign so they never fall off of the map, because there's a real estate agent that everybody knows. We want to make sure that they don't forget you. And again, just to reiterate that channel we were just looking at before, that slide, you want to make sure you do have a well-rounded presence on every single channel that you're marketing on. So you want to focus on your organic channels, your paid channels, your social channels, and working with all of your direct marketing as well.
Yeah, all those channels work together. You may say, well, I'm not seeing conversions from this channel. Well, I can just about guarantee you it's influencing conversions on your other channels. They really are. And you also, I love that you pointed out, you've got to differentiate yourself. And something that came to mind, you mentioned the 3D tours. I love the drone photography and drone videos. I know those are becoming really popular for realtors. So, just finding different ways to differentiate yourself and then offer that as a value add to your customers. So I love it. Angela, thank you so much. I'm really glad that we were able to have you over here and provide such amazing information for us. I know any realtor and really anybody who's watching this webinar, whether it's live or later on, a lot of these marketing tactics and techniques can all really get used across industries. That being said, we're really focusing here on doing a lot of industry-specific marketing techniques. So if there's an industry you'd like us to focus on, please let us know. Be sure to like, share, and comment. If there's anything else or other videos you'd like us to produce, we'd love to. Angela, again, thank you so much for joining us. Everybody else, thank you and happy marketing.